Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me okay? Everybody hear me okay? Just raise your hands in the back if you can hear me. Fine, thank you. I'm Chuck Sheehan. I'm the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission. This is the October 21st, 2025 special meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. I think we have extra agendas and sign-up sheets off to the left for public hearing items. If it's your intention to speak at this meeting, please sign up. You'll be able to speak even if you don't sign up, but it just makes the meeting go in a more orderly fashion if you can sign up, and makes it easier for those that have to keep minutes. Let the record reflect that we call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Start out with appointment of alternates. I believe Mary Ellen Nadaleska will sit in the vacant position. We do have one vacancy that we hope will be filled shortly by the Board of Selectmen. What's the Commission's pleasure on minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from meeting number 1804 from September 16, 2025 as submitted.
Thank you, Ryan. Motion to approve minutes number 1804. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone who wishes to address the Commission on an item that is not on the agenda. I just underline that, not on the agenda. If you wish to speak for an item on the agenda, you can.
Yeah, you also want before to mention the last meeting was requested the application for the last meeting.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I should have mentioned at the very beginning. We received a request from the applicant, Beachway Estates. Gene Arganese was the signatory, requesting that the public hearing that had been on the agenda for this evening for Beachway Estates be postponed till the next meeting. They're still responding to some of the comments from engineering and putting the case together on the aquifer submission, and there wasn't sufficient time for staff to review. Very difficult for the Commission to do their job, to review even when everything is submitted in time, and to come up with all the questions that we need to ask of the applicant, and there just wasn't sufficient time.
Sir?
So if you're here this evening for that matter.
Some people might not know the name Beachway. It's the Rossellini site, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So the Rossellini site is not
Can you
tonight.
read off the title?
Yeah, that's okay. So just to read off, the one we're referring to here is for the GPP Fair Housing of Connecticut. That is for the old Rossellini site. That is the application, and the applicant that has requested an extension until the next meeting to respond.
We regret any inconvenience for anybody that did show up this evening, but the application will be on the agenda for the next meeting. And thank you. We're anxious to receive all your input, so we hope to see you at the next session. No public comment of any sort? Okay. Correspondence. Clifton?
None.
None. Okay.
Sorry.
Stafford?
We have the 2026 regular meeting scheduled, so I just need a vote to confirm that.
Commission all seen that. Please feedback any comments to the staff. Brings us to reports, staff.
Oh, I think we need to vote on that.
I need to vote on that.
So,
We do need to vote on it.
yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the meeting schedule for 2026 regular meeting schedule as submitted.
Motion to approve the 2026 regular meeting schedule as submitted. Thank you, Ryan. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Now to report. Staff?
None.
Okay, under commission, I do have one item, and it's with deep regret that I inform the public and the commissioners that our esteemed planner is attending his last meeting with the commission this evening. I'm sure I speak for everyone on the commission when I say that we have the highest respect for the work that you've done with us, Clifton. You shouldered a heavy burden from the beginning, assuming the duties of a long-standing planner that was highly respected by the commission, with big shoes to fill. You certainly came in and filled those shoes and then went beyond that. You fell right into place on a study that was only halfway completed, the zoning rewrite, picking up phase 2 and moving us swiftly in an organized fashion through phase 2. We only wish you were here to help us finish it up in the next month or so, but I'm sure your good work will be showcased as we move through the last phase of the process, and we'll certainly keep you informed. The POCD work has been nothing shy of stellar, keeping us on schedule for something that wasn't funded really in a timely way, and working swiftly with a catch-up schedule to get us back on track and in good standing with OPM, and that study's moving forward a fine manner. To the housing study, which just got underway, which will be incorporated into the zoning rewrite and POCD, and a nice, neat bow tied on 3 studies that are all done in the same time frame that speak to each other, as opposed to 3 studies that are done in a fragmented way and never are really coordinated. So it's a fine testimony to your great work. Through all of it, the service that you've given to the town certainly meets the highest standards of public service, and I commend you for that. Thank you for everything, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the commission with anything good for the good of the order? You've all seen the zoning enforcement and violations. Any questions? We move on to administrative review. Request for interpretation. Clifton?
All right, so this first item, request for interpretation of stipulations approved under PZ 0460CC CAM, property located at 12 River Road, Pawcatuck. This zone change and CAM application was for the currently constructed thread mill property, so the half of the building that is finished with 57 residential units and 8,000 square feet of commercial space. The petitioner for this application had a question about the use of the commercial space based off of the stipulations that were provided in that final plan. The petitioner, the future potential applicant for a zoning permit, would like to open a gym and wellness center in the facility, but in reading the original stipulations, the limitation was for only retail space within that commercial element. So what I and the petitioner are requesting of the commission is the procedural requirements for basically opening up a new business in this space. The standard procedure would be that the applicant would have to redo the floating zone, come back for a public hearing for the floating zone, in order to change the use of that 8,000 square feet of retail space as identified. The other option that's been identified is the commission could state on the record that they find that the use of personal services is consistent and not more intense or a significant departure from the original use of retail services, and that's the easy way to get around that convoluted process for this space. So I wanted to open it up for the commission's interpretation, and basically the request would be to find whether or not staff's interpretation is consistent or not consistent.
Commission?
This is Ryan. In reading through, I would, in my opinion, find it consistent. I think with the retail space, I think a gym to me is as much a retail venture as say a store, and I don't think it's going to generate any more traffic that would be worrisome than a normal retail space. So I think it would be consistent.
Anyone else with any comments?
I just have a question. So if we change it to, so basically they're saying like we're just going to switch out personal service or allow that as a use instead of retail.
Correct. Personal service is already an identified use in the zoning regulations. What I'm asking the commission to interpret was the original intent of those 3 stipulations that are identified in the report. Was the intent of those to only allow retail uses, or was it intended to not allow intensive commercial uses like restaurants? And so Personally, and staff agrees that the use of retail space and personal services for like a gym or a wellness center are interchangeable and not grossly more intense than one another. So they should be able to switch in and out of the space. It's just the stipulation defining only retail space being the hiccup or the issue. If the commission agreed with how staff's interpreted that those uses are kind of synonymous, then they would just come back before the commission for an administrative review and a zoning permit. So they'd still come back before you. But this is just the initial interpretation to determine whether or not they have to go through a full zone change again.
I think the issue, and amazingly enough, I think I was on the commission in 2004, is the parking. And I think it has something to do with the parking, because I know parking there is very tight. And I'm just saying, I think that's where some of this, the hours of operation, the square footage, all that stuff came from. I'd want to make sure that, is the difference in required parking between personal services and retail?
There is none.
There's no difference in parking requirements? Is it just by square footage, or?
It's by square footage in 2 seconds.
Sorry.
Does this require a motion, Clifton?
It would require a motion to find the staff's interpretation consistent.
So all we're
There's no specification for personal services for parking requirements, so we would still apply retail or office, which it's either one space per 200 square feet of gross floor area or one per 250 square feet of gross floor
No,
area.
that's good. So the only thing we're changing is retail to personal service. We're not doing anything with 2 and 3?
Correct.
Okay.
And they would come back before the commission.
Okay.
As part of that.
Any further questions? What's the commission's pleasure with regard to this interpretation?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to find this interpretation from the staff consistent with the uses and to allow the applicant to proceed accordingly.
Motion that the interpretation is consistent and the application can proceed is noted. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Seconded by Gary. Thank you both. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Chairman abstains. Item 2, Hantang Palace, application 25-240 DZON, administrative review for the approval of outdoor dining space. This is at 42 Williams Avenue. Is there anyone present from?
Yeah. Just flip the switch on the top of the mic.
Sorry? I'm here.
Yep, degree.
Yeah, Jeff Wiley, I'm the property manager. The landlord.
You have a presentation, sir?
No, we've put in the plan, which we were told was just going to be a drawing. It's basically just an administrative approval. Since COVID, I understand they've changed the zoning requirements. It has nothing to do with parking or anything like that, so we're just waiting for approval on it.
Any questions of the applicant?
Just to confirm, so it looked like, and I've driven past because it's, on Route 1, the patio already exists out there from the previous?
Yeah, the patio's been in place
Okay.
prior to Dunkin'.
So you're not expanding it at all?
No
Just-
expansion, it's an existing
Okay.
footprint.
Any further questions of the applicant? Clifton, any comments?
None.
What's the commission's pleasure on the application of Hantang Palace?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the application from Hang Tong Palace with no stipulations.
Second.
Motion to approve, seconded. Thank you both. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank
The
you.
chairman
Is
abstains.
there any paperwork that will come, or?
It'll come from our office, yes.
Thank you very much. Have a good
Thank
day.
you, sir. Good evening. Okay, under old business, application PZ 2531BR EG Shoreline, JLLC, Chris Olivera. Bond release application. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening. This item was tabled at the last meeting. Since then, I've met with the town engineer and DPW to correct some actions that they wanted. It's probably highlighted in the memo that you guys have received.
Any questions of Mr. Olivera? I believe we had some issues with the town engineer review on the last bond release.
There were original comments and those have since been addressed.
Okay, fine. So we're clear to release the bond.
That's correct.
What's the commission's pleasure on the bond release request?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the bond release request for EG Shoreline 1 as submitted with no stipulations.
Request to approve the bond release as requested with no stipulations by Ryan. Thank you, Ron. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded. Thank you both. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Chair abstains, motion passes. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Next item under old business is application PZ 2533 CAM, Mr. Gorecki LLC, S. Sharenzi. Evening, sir.
Good evening. I'm just going to plug in here so I can present some plans over the screen.
Thanks.
Just one moment. Okay, good evening. Thank you for your patience. We'll just make sure I got everything up here for you. For the record, Sergio Cerenzia, Cerenzia and Associates, offices at 99 Mechanic Street, located in Pawcatuck, Connecticut. The application before you this evening is for M.R. Gorecki. My clients, Julie and Bob Gorecki, are here this evening. And this application, as noted, is for a single-family residential development located on Masons Island Road. The plans and the survey that were prepared and submitted to you were done by my office in my responsible charge and that of my survey manager, Mark Cassianos, who is a licensed land surveyor in the state of Connecticut, and I am a licensed engineer in the state of Connecticut, professional engineer. So the application before you this evening, just to give you a little background, has gone through zoning board of appeals review. Actually had to go in front of them multiple times until we right-sized the project to achieve some variances for the proposed structure. I'm glad to report we made it to this commission after being successful in clearing the ZBA and being able to achieve certain variances on the property for different yard setbacks, front and rear, and a setback to the coastal feature to the rear. As I go into it, you'll see why this dimensional relief was important, because we are developing on a very narrow portion of this much larger lot, and I can go into a little bit more of the nuances on how we came to this conclusion. Work on this project started years and years ago with a previous owner, and my client recently purchased it from an estate of the deceased previous owner that worked with my office, and they were successful in obtaining those variances. And we're here this evening for a coastal area management application for that single-family residence. So the property is pretty significantly sized property of Masons Island Road, just after the causeway. On the south, it is bordered by the Mystic Harbor, south to southeast. Along the south, there's another residential property. There's residential property across Masons Island Road. As I mentioned, to the north is what all the residential property that leads to the causeway where this property is located. So the site plan, I think this gives you a little bit more context. You can see this is a pretty significantly large portion of piece of property here. I think it's a little over 3.5 acres. The lot is split zoned, and it's between an RC 120 and an RM 15. And that is important because the RC 120, the buildable portion, I should take a step back, the buildable portion of the land is on the southerly portion right here, and that's where we're proposing the structure. The remaining portion of this land to the northeast, this big peninsula here, is largely wetland, coastal wetland. It's just not buildable. There's very little bit of upland associated with this site. The RM15 zone, the portion of the site that we are proposing the development on, is on the southerly portion of it. And the RC 120 encompasses largely the remainder. Per the zoning regulations, the setbacks adhere to the prevailing lot. So the important thing I want to emphasize here is that we are proposing a subdivision of the lot where a portion of this land that's largely in the RC 120 will be donated to a land trust, and we have an agreement with Avalonia right now to accept that land. By virtue of the fact we can shed ourselves of that land, the RM15 prevails, and that's what our zoning setbacks are based on and what the ZBA approved for our zoning setbacks. So I just wanted to make sure we are clear where we've been and what the proposal is. Given that we were successful in getting relief on the zoning, we painstakingly went through the design of this structure to make sure that we right-sized it for this site. And as I mentioned, we had to go through multiple applications with ZBA to get to this right size, which is what was being presented to you this evening. The proposal for the lot also is contingent upon a sewer connection. This site, with its history, had gone through some previous litigation. Attorney Avina is here if you have any questions. If you have any questions regarding that. But the past litigation that went through a court decision was that this site could support something as long as it had a sewer connection and public water connection. It does have public water that is available at the site. We've confirmed that. The sewer, though, however, is down the street a ways, and it's a private line that ties into the municipal system and has a private agreement associated with such. We've also obtained an agreement with that private owner to tie into that sewer system. We have shown that this sewer system is going to tie into the nearest manhole to the north. And that has gone through Water Pollution Control Authority Commission review and received approval conditional upon the specific agreement with the community sewer, with the agreement that there be, I believe there's an engineering report that's required, which we are pursuing with the vendor of that system, and also contingent upon DEP state approval. So we are pursuing that as long as this gets approved this evening. So the plan is for a single-family residential structure. The site is located within a flood hazard zone. It'll have to be elevated in order to meet the flood hazard requirements, all the building code requirements. It will be built up on piers because it is in a velocity zone with all the appropriate building code requirements adhered to for that structure. And I have those building plans. I believe they were filed with the application if you care to see those. But focusing on the site right now, the site has horseshoe U-shaped driveway, one in, one out, given the site constraints. We will be tying into the municipal sewer, the water as well, and I'll just bring your attention to the north side of the site where we do have there's a wetland. Obviously, there's a coastal feature to the south, there's a harbor, but to the north, there also is a coastal wetland. And part of our application and our CAM application, both in front of ZBA and to here this evening, is that we planned on making sure that we observe at least, I believe it's 30 feet to the structure itself, and a enhanced 20-foot buffer to that coastal feature. So wherever we don't have vegetation, you can see this hatched area on the plan. That's where we're proposing to infill with additional buffer plantings to enhance the protection of that coastal feature, with still maintaining access around the proposed structure. And I can tell you, we fit this structure as best as we could into the small little triangular, regular shaped setbacks we could with the dimensional relief that was granted. In addition to the buffer enhancement, we've also included some stormwater management, a small rain garden located north of the structure that will handle all of the impervious area from the roof. We worked with the town engineer to make sure that was adequately sized for water quality and infiltration. The test holes out there, did infiltrometer tests, the whole nine, and I believe that there's a memorandum in your packet that I believe you have satisfied with the responses to many of our comments, including one was to make a few minor modifications to that rain garden system, but by and large that will help to improve. And I believe the Connecticut DEP also commended us on doing the buffering and the additional stormwater management for the property, given the addition of the structure itself. The driveway will be crushed stone except for the paved aprons. And kind of a unique thing that we came upon in trying to figure out getting the sewer line, and it's going to be a relatively small line because it'll be pumped to the force line in the street into that low pressure system, is that we did have to bring that line through some areas where there were some sensitive wetlands because we just simply, the coastal wetlands come up almost, if not up to the edge of the roadway. So to avoid costly and a lot of disturbance to Mason's Island Road, we proposed to do a directional drilling, and we've spoken to directional drillers. There's a few that do this and that do it all over the eastern seaboard. These guys are very experts in their field. The town engineer requested that we dig some test holes to make sure there were no impediments for this directional drilling. Something that I actually hadn't had a lot of experience with. I've done it only on one other job, but they informed me that they can directional drill and actually move the direction of the pipe as they drill it. And we can get that pipe in the ground and avoid a lot of disturbance, if any, to the roadway, to the right-of-way, and go right under any of these minor encroachments in any of the wetland areas. So I believe the WPCA was favorable to this, and so is the director of the WPCA, and looking forward to doing this on this job. And I believe even the director said there's some other candidates in town that he's exploring for this type of installation. There'll be some minor excavation as we tie into the house on the house side, and then where the manhole is down the street a ways. I can pull up the overall plan that shows where that tie-in is. It's about at the intersection of Old North Road is where we're going to have to directional drill that line. So we believe we've met all of the criteria under your purview for a CAM application. We've mitigated all the impacts for the proposed development, just by virtue of the fact we're not having a septic system on the site. We're taking all the wastewater off of the site into the combined sewer system, which is already in place and we have rights to tie into. And not at a mere, it's not a small expense to do that, but it is something that came along with the requirement of developing this property, along with handling all of the mitigation for stormwater impacts to the site and the additional buffering. So for all those reasons, we believe we've met the CAM application criteria. And if there's any other questions, my clients are here to answer. I'm happy to answer, or Attorney Avina is also here. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of the engineer? Very thorough engineering job in this.
It needed to be.
The directional drilling, by the way, I've had some experience with it, and this is a perfect application where it can be used very effectively to minimize eliminate disturbance, virtually unscathed wherever it's passing under. And the auger is highly steerable, both in the vertical and horizontal direction. It goes, stays on grade and within the easement wherever you're pointing it. Any other questions? Clifton, any comments?
No comment, there's just the one stipulation to
Right.
address the outstanding comments from the WPCA.
It's the Commission's pleasure of with this application.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the CAM application for this application with the one stipulation that the applicant shall address outstanding comments to the satisfaction of the Water Pollution Control Authority, town engineer, and town planner as applicable.
Motion with stipulations that we satisfy the WPCA, town planner, town engineer comments. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Thank you both. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Chair abstains, motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is old business item PZ 2537, SPA J. Washburn. Is the applicant present? Here. Evening, sir. Just want to briefly describe your proposed activity.
Mainly for the use of storing stone.
Commissioner, have any questions of the applicant? While the Commission's thinking, Clifton, any comments?
Just to go into a little bit further depth on the proposal. There was a complaint filed number 25026 and NOV for operation of a commercial use on a residential parcel. The discussion was held with town staff on how to remediate the site. The requirement is a site plan application in order to permit the use. There are a couple features on site that were specified in the planning report. The one comment that I would make is the use of a site for outdoor storage in the case of storing stone as the applicants described. Historically, the Planning and Zoning Commission and the zoning regulations haven't identified an outdoor storage quote-unquote use in the regulations. What has historically been applied for businesses like this or landscaping businesses is that they've been approved as office spaces inside the structure, and then the exterior parking area can be used for storage of materials or equipment to support the businesses. That comes with a couple limitations if you're in the groundwater protection zone, in which case you can't store certain types of materials out in those areas per the regulations, but with this site just being storing stone, it is a permissible use, the office use, and then the outdoor storage. So put that historical reference in there. The only other comment that staff has made is regarding, there's a screening requirement. And this will be, this needs to be provided along the western property line, screening the commercial use from the residential use behind, which is owned by the same property owner, but just in case the property changes hands in the future, it still needs to be screened. So with that, there's only the one recommended stipulation, but this closes out the NOV, this closes out the complaint, and the applicant's following the proper procedure.
Any questions of Clifton or the applicant? If there are no questions, what's the commission's pleasure with the application of Jay Washburn?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the application of Jay Washburn for the site plan application of Jay Washburn with the following stipulation, that the applicant shall establish landscaping screening along the western property line in accordance with ZR 8.3.2.
Motion to approve with stipulation as noted. Is there a second?
Second the motion.
Thank you both. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Chair abstains. The application is approved, sir. Thank you. Last item under old business, PZ 25425PA, SPA rather, Popover Eatery, applicant P. Pados at 24 East Main Street, Mystic. Evening.
Hello. So I believe you have the application from a few weeks ago.
We have your application. If you just want to make a brief explanation so that everyone in the audience understands it and for the benefit of the commission as well.
Sure. So we're looking just to create an outdoor festive gathering space for the holiday season. It's our second full Christmas holiday season in Mystic. And we just really loved the way everything was downtown last year and thought we could contribute to that by having something really festive in the parking lot. So it would be taking up 4 of our parking spaces and just surrounded by trees, white lights, and we would have a little outdoor bar. There would be no food cooked outside. It would just be an outdoor service bar. We'd be making lattes, hot chocolates, hot mulled wines, and a couple different cocktails, and just providing a really nice festive gathering space for the month.
Do you have any questions of the applicant?
I just have one. You mentioned you can have a snow generating machine there.
Possibly.
Possibly.
It's something we want to kind of throw out there if we could do it. It
Okay.
would really be just for like photo op purposes in a little corner of it.
Okay, so it's not something you would run regularly all the
No.
time? I'm just thinking of the noise for the surrounding neighbors.
Not at all.
Any other questions of the applicant?
With the losing 4 parking spaces, you don't see an issue with that in your business?
I'm not worried about it at all. There's many times where our parking lot is empty and the entire restaurant is full. There's times where it's completely full and the restaurant's empty. So it's fine. People walk there. I think people will walk to come to this.
The comments, Clifton?
Oh, just regarding your comment, Gary, the statutory allowances for outdoor dining post-COVID allow you to take up all the parking spaces for outdoor dining, and so that's been codified in language. So even if there was a parking issue, the commission isn't allowed to, define a need for additional parking spaces for outdoor dining.
Any questions of Clifton or the applicant? If not, what's the commission's pleasure with Popover Eatery's application at 24 East Main Street?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve Popover Eatery's site plan application with no stipulations.
Motion to approve with no stipulations. Did I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you both. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Chair abstains. The motion passes. Thank you. Okay, we're now moving into the public hearing phase. As I mentioned earlier in the meeting, if you wish to speak during any of the public hearings, there's sign-up sheets specific to, in this case, it'll be one of 3. We mentioned for anyone that wasn't here at the beginning of the meeting, the application of Fair Housing of Connecticut LLC requested an extension to the next meeting and will not be heard this evening. Could I ask you, Ryan, just to read the agenda item for public hearing number 1, and then I'll explain the process by which the application will be presented and the public will be heard.
This is for PZ 2540 SUP, Town of Stonington, D. Hayward. Site plan application for the installation of modular classrooms with a covered walkway and associated site improvements. Property located at 40 Field Street, Pawcatuck, M/B/L 14-7-1. Property is located in the RA 15 zone.
So before we open the public hearing, I just want to explain that the applicant will present the application, the commission will ask questions, staff will present any comments, then it will be open to public comment. Those for, against, or just want to make a general statement, hopefully have signed up. We'll read you off in order. You can make your comments. The applicant will then have an opportunity to rebut anything that's brought up by those in objection or any comments, general comments that are made that the applicant wishes to rebut. And we'll go back and forth with rebuttal till everyone is satisfied that they've said their piece. The commission will vote after each item. So we need a motion to open the first public hearing item.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to open the public hearing for PZ 254 SUP, Town of Stonington, D. Hayward.
Thank you, Ryan. Motion to open the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is open. Gentlemen?
Hi, I'm Steve Carroll, Director of Facilities at Stonington Public Schools. I'm here representing Stonington Board of Education for the application of a portable building on the site of 40 Field Street. The reason for the building is for additional classroom space in that location. The building will have no bathrooms, potable water. It's basically a classroom structure. We are making some amendments to the easement road for the emergency vehicles. We're providing a gallery for stormwater drainage from the roof of the building to absorb that water. I guess it's about all the points I would like to make. It is a temporary structure, probably about a 10-year lifespan expected on the structure.
Thanks, Steve. For the record, my name is Darren Hayward. I work for CLA Engineers, representing the Board of Education. I have before you the site plan as part of the application. As Steve mentioned, these are temporary structures. The units have been placed just to the west of the existing building to provide easy access to the main school building. This is going to be important to reduce the distance the students have to travel between the two facilities. The access will be via a covered aluminum walkway between the two buildings, and we are proposing also an emergency ramp on the west side of the unit as an alternative means of access and egress. As Mr. Carroll mentioned, the building is only going to be served by new electrical service. There's going to be no running water or toilets, and students will have to use the toilets in the main school building, but they are just inside the west side of the building. The existing area drains from the northeast to the southwest. There is existing drainage, stormwater drainage infrastructure on site, and we are going to be using that. The area where the buildings are going to be situated, we're going to be leveling off somewhat just to have the units better receive. The runoff from the new aligned emergency driveway will continue to sheet flow off to the grassed areas, and that is directed to an existing infiltration system that's currently on site. The new impervious area associated with the roof will be collected via a guttering system that will discharge to some subsurface concrete dry well units located just adjacent to the buildings, and they've been sized to capture and infiltrate the water quality volume. A couple of test pits were done to verify that infiltration would occur. And then finally, all the disturbed areas will be loomed and seeded. That's about it.
How will the area be restored after the classrooms will be removed?
It will probably be returned back to its original state, which is topsoil, loomed and seeded now. It's grass there now, so there's no reason why it should be returned to grass.
How about grading, regrading? Will there be any regrading required?
No, we're not adjusting anything. If anything, we're just smoothing out the grade so that it's just easier to level the buildings there. But everything will continue
Even
to
though it's
drain.
flattened for the building, it will drain?
There's no platform. They're going to be slightly raised above the ground.
Okay.
They're going to be on individual pier, like
So it's
column
on piers?
foundations. There's no slab.
It's on piers?
They'll be on piers, yeah.
Any questions of the applicant? Clifton, any comments?
None.
If there are no questions of the applicant, what's the commission's pleasure? I'm sorry, public needs to speak. Has anyone signed up to speak either in favor or against this application? Make a general statement. Clifton, do we have the sign-up sheets?
Yeah, no one signed up.
Okay. If anyone wishes to make a statement? Hearing none, what's the commission's pleasure on this? I'll make a motion to close the public hearing, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to close this public hearing for the town of Stonington, D. Hayward.
Motion to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Made and seconded, thank you both. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Now, what's the commission's pleasure on the application?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the special use permit application of town of Stonington, D. Hayward, along with approval of the waivers requested with no stipulations.
Motion to approve with stipulations. Is there a second?
Okay.
Motion made and seconded, thank you both. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Chair abstains, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ryan, would you read virtually the same procedures are in effect for the remaining two matters of public hearing, but we'll move now to the second public hearing item of F. Verzillo.
You just need a motion to reopen.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to reopen the public hearing for PZ 2522 SDV Verzillo as Torrenzia.
Motion to reopen the public hearing from our previous meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is reopened. Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Attorney Robert Avina, Assistant Shapiro, 20 South England Road, Pawcatuck. Here on behalf of Frank and Marissa Verzillo, who are here, and their LLC. As you recall, we were back here in August, and it was we had quite a lot of public comment regarding the through road issue, rather than a cul-de-sac for the project. We're here tonight because we resubmitted a design plan to go through and do the through road through the Fellows. So Sergio Trenzia, who I'm going to introduce in a minute, will be here to walk you through the new plan to go through and not create the cul-de-sac. We also are requesting tonight a continuance until your last meeting in November, because by redesigning this, we really need to work on the drainage plan with the town engineer and make sure that we get everything submitted timely to him for their comments prior to the close of the public hearing, pursuant to the regs, pursuant to the public hearing requirements. And so I'm also presenting to you on behalf of the applicant, Frank Verzillo, this is written confirmation of the applicant agreeing to an additional final extension of the public hearing on this matter up to and including, I believe that's right, up to November 18th.
That's correct.
and that is signed by me.
Can you just clarify for the record, too, that that means you do not want to be heard at the November 3rd meeting?
In talking, and Sergio will bring this up to you, the complications of trying to do the redesign and put that drainage in, we won't really be in time to submit timely for November 3rd. So we're going to use that time in November to get our comments in, make them timely, get the response from the town engineer, and then be back to you. So we know that's a critical part of the project. A couple other comments on my side of things when we were discussing back in August is we're working with the planner, with the town, and being very interested in our open space provision. As you know, it abuts, I believe it's the school property that just came up tonight. So we are looking to dedicate that open space over to the town. So that certainly is part of the proposal. We looked at the drainage issues, and I think at this point, we're going to propose an HOA for the lot owners to manage that private section of the drainage, the storm drainage that Sergio's working on. So we'll be proposing an HOA for that. There was some discussion regarding the road widening. We did our research. Sergio will show you that in the prior iteration of this subdivision some years ago, that road widening was already provided for, and we deeded that property over to the town. So there is now adequate road widening available that is in the town ownership presently. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sergio so he can make the presentation on the through road.
Good evening again. For the record, Sergio Terenzia, Terenzia and Associates. I'm just going to bring up a couple of exhibits to go through what we've done to date on modifying the site plan. Largely, the subdivision along Burdick Lane hasn't changed. There's still frontage lots carved off with the appropriate amount of frontage and area. Really what I've brought up now is what our previous proposal was for a cul-de-sac, which caused a lot of heartburn for neighbors and aptly by your planner to recommend putting a through road in. So we've gone from this configuration of a cul-de-sac, dead-end cul-de-sac from Fellows, and I'll bring up the revised plan here. This is the overall. You can see that we still have the same conventional frontage lots along Burdick Lane, but what we've done at the westerly portion of the site is eliminated the cul-de-sac and put a through road in with more conventional frontage lots off of the proposed road, which will connect Fellows to Johnson. So a little bit more detail on that, a little bit zoomed in here. We've reconfigured the open space, but it's still generally in the same location adjacent to the town property. But what this configuration also allows us to do is maintain the same number of lots. However, they will all be coming off of a through road as opposed to a cul-de-sac. The drainage we still need to work out and work with the town engineer. We have steeply sloping site from west to east down to Moss Street. So conveying that water is going to be a challenge. Right now we're doing so in open swales. We may need to incorporate some closed systems just because of the steep slopes associated with such. And we're working through that design now, but we wanted to present this reconfiguration to show that we've made an effort, one, to address the multiple comments from the public, as well as the recommendation of the town planner. With respect to the Burdick Lane and the narrowness of it, I do have a figure here, which kind of goes through the history of the right-of-way. When this project was initially conceived and approved, as part of that approval, a portion of that right-of-way was dedicated to the town and then currently is in town ownership. So we don't want to forget that history, that the first one is what the town right-of-way looked like. It's a solid line. You can see there's a weird jog at this end. This line was straightened, from where the jogs took place, and there was a curve put in. And so this third exhibit I'll zoom in on. It's a little tough to see, but this dash line represents the difference between the two. The dash line was the previous right-of-way and on Burdick Lane, which was actually moved 8.5 feet towards the property to be dedicated as a town right-of-way. I think there was a comment on, is there going to be an adequate snow shelf? Will there be a sidewalk? There's a sidewalk that we're proposing right along the edge of the property line of the right-of-way, and there's more than ample space between the edge of the existing pavement of the road and the property line and the sidewalk for an ample snow shelf. And you can see these funky jogs got taken out of the curve on Moss Street, and this is much more straighter and provides the town the opportunity to widen Burdick Lane if so needed in the future. Since our last application, I also had meetings with the town fire chief, the Pawtucket Fire Chief, Byron Stillman. He was out of town, but I met with him today, and he had reviewed the plan, and we are going to maintain a fire hydrant at the end of the road connection to where the road connects to Fellows, in addition to the hydrant that is going to be proposed along Oakwood Ave that the fire chief requested. I also had a conversation with the chief of police, and I know he mentioned that he had been getting some concerns from residents, and he did not have any further comment as long as we were working with planning staff. One of the things that he did mention was that that curve from Moss Street to Burdick Lane, that there was some concern of people coming around that turn and having it be safe. I can tell you that we do meet all sightline requirements to the proposed driveway at Lot 2. There can be additional signage on that road that will preempt people that there is a curve in front of them. I know there's one on Burdick Lane as you're coming down Burdick Lane onto Moss Street. There is signage there that identifies that there is a curve there. One could be placed on the other side on Moss Street onto Burdick Lane with signage that says, cars will be entering. But that is a 20-mile-an-hour road. Of course, the public is going to say people don't drive that 20 miles an hour, everyone drives faster, and that's a reality. But it is a posted speed limit, and that's an enforcement issue. But coming around that curve, I don't think you want to be going too much further faster than that, because it is a tight turn. So we are cognizant of that. And part of that also discussion and what your recommendation to your town planner is to provide an easement to the town so that that curve, any vegetation or anything that grows over there, it'll have to be maintained as part of the stormwater because we're proposing that basin down there. There is a drain that we are utilizing to bypass the stormwater coming off of Orchard to tie into that system. So we would be open to an easement along that curve, which would serve twofold. One, so that the town, if need be, could maintain that drainage way, but also to also make sure that corner doesn't get overgrown and we can preserve that sight line to the greatest extent practical around that curve. So that's where we're at with the site plans thus far. We wanted to get the further input of the commission. I think we're on the right track, but we want to make sure that we are. So, and the additional concerns with all the stormwater, we are very cognizant of it. We want to work with the town engineer to adequately address all those things prior to putting forth the final plan and hopefully rendering a decision in November. With that, my clients are here. Attorney Avina is here as well, and Any questions for me at this time, I'd be happy to answer.
Commissioner, have any questions of the applicant's engineer or attorney?
I do. I have the same concern I had last time, the increased traffic on Fellows. Now everybody in that neighborhood, Johnson, Oakwood, all those people are gonna be going down Fellow Street instead of making this turn. Fellow Street is right now a dead-end street, there's 6 houses there. I'd like to see some kind of a traffic study on how the traffic on Fellows is gonna change. And I said before, and I know it's not your job, and I know we're not responsible for this, but I think the people on Fellows need to know this is happening. I don't want it turning into another Velvet Lane issue, where all of a sudden they start building this road, and the people on Fellows are like, oh, we had no idea this is happening. They're not, they're not abutting directly, and that's, I like the idea of the through street. I know that's a tight turn, but I'm concerned about the residents on Fellows.
Thank you.
Any other questions of the applicant's engineer or attorney? Clifton, any comments?
Commissioner Morrison, regarding your comment, the commission could request the applicant pursue some form of a traffic study. As I mentioned at the last meeting, obviously the noticing requirements have to be, they have to do it on their own. It can't be like a requirement from the commission to do that. So if they wanted to have the conversation with the residents on Fellow Street, they more than very well could. The request for a traffic study is a reasonable request should the commission choose to ask for something ahead of the next meeting. It wasn't previously asked for last time, but it's still something that you can ask for. The only other comments, Sergio mentioned that they've been working with the town engineer on addressing a lot of the stormwater drainage and easement concerns. So I noted that all my original comments were not addressed or partially addressed as they worked through that process. So there's no real issue there. The through road as a urban planning best practice is the way to go. It seems that not only the fire chief but the police chief are also in agreement that that's the right pathway moving forward. And then the final thing regarding the road width on Burdick Lane, I did previously request of the applicant to show the right-of-way width change over time, just to make sure that we had adequate right-of-way width. The applicant, just for everybody's reference, and this is for the public too, the applicant is not required to bring an existing town road up to town standards as part of this application. It's not part of the subdivision regulations, nor is it part of the technical standards. They, however, for the new construction, the new road that would connect Fellow Street to Johnson, that is required to be built to the current town standards. Any issues that are currently along Burdick Lane are a responsibility of the Department of Public Works, and it would be up to them to get to receive the necessary funding through the normal appropriation cycle to go out and widen that road up to the town standards. So if there are questions or concerns from the public regarding the right-of-way width of Burdick, or the width of the physical road of Burdick Lane, those need to be directed towards DPW, not necessarily this applicant.
Thank you, Clifton. Any questions of Clifton? I have a question, or just a point that I believe was made up, was brought out in the last meeting, and that is that the previous alignment presented problems for school buses, either backing up or turning around. Is that problem addressed in this new alignment?
With the through road?
With the through road, the school bus issue is corrected, correct?
I don't believe there's any issues that a school bus could not maneuver this new.
But there was with previous, wasn't there an issue with the school bus proceeding down Burdick and then having to back up to turn around? No?
Yeah, onto Oakwood.
Yeah, there was, as I recall. But I think that road,
The through road now, the loop corrects the school bus.
I believe
That it can now go
turning
through.
issue, which is significant. And, I think a feature that made the commission favor this option.
Yeah.
And the issue of traffic, I'm just trying to get my arms around, the potential for increased traffic. We're now connecting two roads, that are not connected, so it's a loop. And it would seem to me that the new traffic would be limited to half of the new houses, because half are going to go one way, from a logical standpoint, and half are going to go the other. and any trips, you know, from visitors that are generated by those new vehicles. It's not like we're opening it to a through street. There's not going to be, I think, a tremendous amount of trip generation from the new homes. So is it just that it becomes a through street now that you're concerned? Okay, I get that.
Because that entire neighborhood back there now is gonna go down, what is this gonna be called, Fellows?
Oh, I don't know, we haven't.
Whatever this new street's gonna be
Yeah,
called.
We
So
just
now
I got
haven't
There's a
created
bunch,
it, so I
all
don't
right, there's
have
like
a name
50
yet.
houses up there, I don't know how many houses, there's a bunch of houses up there, and now instead of them all, I understand the subdivision's not creating a lot, but now these, let's say 40 of them are now going down a previously one-way street, or not one-way, dead-end street. So there's the 6 lots that are on Fellows going up, so I don't know how many there are, 6, 8 something, there's not that many. Right now it's a dead-end street, so now you're gonna have.
No, I got that.
Yeah.
I got it, but what I'm saying is that the magnitude of the additional traffic is not gonna come from new trips, that all of a sudden this is a through street that's gonna generate new trips. The new trips are the new houses.
There are no new trips, but I would echo that the concern is valid because if you're on Johnson Avenue and your normal pattern of travel is down Burdick Lane and then up through Moss Street. So the decrease of potential traffic on Burdick Lane and Moss Street would be increased or transposed over to the new created street, depending on where the final location is.
Understood.
So it could be an increase, it could be a net minor increase, net significant increase. It really does depend on the final destination of the vehicle itself and the trip. But the amount of traffic that's created from the subdivision itself is minimal.
Correct.
Can I ask a question then with this traffic study? I mean, you would not be able to do a traffic study to show what they're proposing, right? I mean, with the through street, so it's
Yeah,
not
they can
like
do
you
a
could-
new trip generation study.
The
Yeah.
difficulty with
Yeah.
developing a traffic study for this site is you need to know the endpoint.
Yeah.
And if you don't know the endpoint, you have to
They'll get
assume
that,
every
they'll get
vehicle
that from
could
the
go
traffic
through.
volumes on the adjacent streets. There's a way to do it. So, but my point is it'll probably be an equal distribution in
Correct.
both directions,
It probably will be.
you know, on the new trips.
Attorney Bean again. So I think there's a distinction, as the chair said, between the development of the 13 lots versus the planning concept of what Alyssa's talking about, or Allison, about opening up the road. And obviously that's a planning decision that we came in with last time. Would you rather have the through road as recommended by the planning staff versus what we first proposed? But we can't, you know, in terms of effect, we're not trying to affect the traffic situation given the number of homes that we're proposing. It's more the concern of everyone else starting to come and go through that area. And I understand that, and that's a planning decision, you know, that the board and the commission is making. But I agree with the chair that it isn't the impact of the subdivision per se. It's a decision that where we're located, is it better to make it a road?
It is in a way, because as has been mentioned, and correctly mentioned, we're interconnecting a street that's a cul-de-sac street now, and there's an inevitable impact on the traffic on that street. And I think quantifying it is probably a good idea.
Correct, and I guess at the end of the day, the commission's gonna have to weigh planning best practice versus potential impact. And potential impact, you know, again, like with most other applications, the applicant is not responsible for the off-site effects of what they do. So if the residents on other roads choose to use this road now, that's not necessarily their responsibility. If they're responsible for the effects of what their site itself does and the traffic that they themselves generate, it is worth the question and potentially looking into it. But just to remember, when the commission, you know, goes to the point of deciding on this application later, they're not necessarily responsible for the downstream effects of putting in the road because the other houses exist. So those users or those residents would be making the active choice themselves to use this road. That's not necessarily that applicant's fault.
That's my point.
Thank you. Any further questions of the applicant's engineer or attorney or the applicant? Any further questions of Clifton? Okay, is everybody comfortable to open it up to public comment at this time? Did you want to say something? No, okay,
No, I'm just-
fine.
Letting it open for public comment.
Okay, we have one speaker who signed up to speak, Carlene Donnarumma. Carlene?
Thank you. Well, I think I'll stand up. Yeah, we'll see. Good evening, commission members. You getting the sound? My name is Carlene Donnarumma. I live on 22 Oakwood Avenue. And before I read my printed comments to the commission, I'd like to make a comment regarding Fellow Street. Well, lost my thought. Well, I'll just continue. The planner's report alerts you to the fact that the Board of Police Commissioners reviewed the application again at its October 8-9 meeting where two items were addressed, namely the curve where Moss Street adjoins Burdick Lane and the actual width of Burdick Lane, which does not comply to the town's standards of 50 feet. The planner's report also states a concern in this same area where the existing sidewalk supposedly extends outside of the right-of-way onto Lot 1, and no conveyance of land has been given to the town for a better sightline at that curve. I'm a little bit confused because I was told whatever was deeded to the town before went away because it had to do with another subdivision. And now I'm hearing tonight that supposedly the town owns this property. But anyway, what I wanted, now I want to show you this Burdick Lane. Is there some way that you can, oh, he went away.
I don't have a camera for him to show.
Well, I was hoping he would be able to show this. But anyway,
He can't put that on the TV though.
he can't?
No, he can't.
Well,
That's for YouTube.
All right. Okay, anyway, you will be getting a copy of this after I get done. Oh, thank you. This is, if you haven't been there, and I hope you have, but if you haven't, I just wanted to show you that this is the curve at Burdick Lane that we're talking about. This grassed area isn't always cut. Sometimes I have to run after the guy who's mowing the lawn and get after him to do it, but they're told, oh, you make one swipe. This time someone was careful and he went in so that we could see. This picture is going to show you what happens when people park along Burdick Lane, which is not wide enough, and how they block the view. So I'm going to give you all a copy of that so you can look for that. And then we'll continue on with my comments. Maybe you could pass them around for me. Somebody? Thank you. There are 6 copies there, so there's one for the record and one for each commission member. Continuing on. Again, I want to talk about where Moss Street connects to Burdick Lane, which is in those pictures. As has been said, the police chief and the chairman of that commission actually went on site, and they also had concerns about this area. And the chairman, again, at their meeting, and way back in July, she issued concerns, and again, they were, so I hope you're going to go check it out. And when you do, I hope you do not encounter the two near misses that I had in the last 2 weeks at this very same spot. It was night, and I was approaching Burdick Lane from Moss Street when I suddenly came upon a truck and 2 girls in dark clothing standing right at that spot. I couldn't see them until I was almost on top of them. Good thing I was driving slowly. The second incident happened when I approached, approaching from Moss Street. A neighbor was rounding the corner, and she was waving at me. So I thought she was saying hello. But what she was really doing was telling me, there's somebody, and there's trucks at the end of the road, which you'll see in that picture. So that is really an area of concerns. And the police chief was asked if there were any accidents at that spot. And he checked, and he told me, no. But there have been many, many near misses, and they don't record them. According to the planner's report, an easement on Lot 1 is being granted for that errant sidewalk. But no additional land is being conveyed to the town along the curve, or maybe it is now, but I don't know exactly what the story is there. This is very concerning and even mind-boggling because, as was testified tonight by the applicant, that land was deeded already to the town, so I think it's fair to round out that curve. You will be getting the volume and page number where that was deeded before. Hope it's still there. All right, let's talk about the width of Burdick Lane as it now relates to other streets in the development of that neighborhood. Back in 1837, when the Board of Selectmen established Burdick Lane, a 33-lot-foot width was the rule of the day. However, that is no longer acceptable by the residents who live in this neighborhood, who witness daily trips of FedEx, UPS, Amazon Prime, and other delivery trucks, as well as joggers, dog walkers, mothers, and a nanny pushing a baby carriage, and the school bus that blocks the traffic and does sometimes back up into the woods, picking up the children. The way the bus works right now is it drives up around the corner, up Burdick Lane, turns back into Oakwood Avenue so the children can aboard the bus, and then it goes back down Burdick Lane. So having Fellow Street will be a big help in alleviating that dangerous situation that maybe someday someone would get hit. I think there might be more traffic on Burdick Lane, because there are going to be 3 new homeowners already. 3 houses have already changed hands within the last year on Burdick Lane, and actually probably closer than that. And, of course, Mr. Brazillo's 6 lots. Okay, so. All right, again, I want to reiterate that Burdick Lane does not comply with the town standards current width, which is 50 feet, by technical standards 2.4, which is the minimum roadway geometric standard. So I brought along my original map that I had done for Burdick Lane. Yep. Because I want to talk about, here's Burdick Lane, I want to talk about the development of Johnson Street, the development of Oakwood Avenue, and the development of Fellow Street. We're going to talk about all 3 of those streets that are in the neighborhood. First of all, Fellow Street. According to their revised plan, which is on sheet C3, Fellow Street will be a through street connecting to Johnson Street at the junction of Burdick Lane. The plan shows a 50-foot right-of-way with a 24-foot paved area. However, technical standard 2.4 requires a paved width of 26 feet. And the intersection of Burdick Lane and Johnson Street has always been a problem because it is so narrow that 2 cars cannot be there at the same time. However, even when Fellow Street is widened at that junction, it could still be a problem because Burdick Lane is not proposed to have a 50-foot right-of-way. And it is actually, additionally, it is unclear if this new intersection meets technical standards 2.6. So that's something our engineering department really needs to check out. We are thankful and we are grateful that the developer has decided to eliminate the cul-de-sac. Our neighborhood really embraces that to provide a through street to Johnson Street, thus complying. In doing so, it is complying with subdivision requirement 5.6.1, which states that proposed streets shall be planned to provide safe and convenient access to proposed lots and shall be suitably located and adequately constructed to accommodate both present and future traffic and shall provide for emergency maintenance vehicles. When constructed, our neighborhood will have another exit should a fallen tree, which did happen this past week, block the road. And we will not have to worry that a medical help cannot access the neighborhood, as we, again, for a second time, we needed medical help in the neighborhood. So that second access is really, really important to us. But most importantly is the cul-de-sac fulfills, eliminating the cul-de-sac fulfills the subdivision regulation 5.6.2, which says the arrangement of streets shall provide for the coordination of principal streets on adjoining subdivisions. The extension of Fellow Street itself matches the 50-foot right-of-way that was established in September of 1937 when Fellow Street was proposed in the Prospect Heights subdivision plan. I'm going to give you a map, and Clifton, if you don't mind handing this out. This is that subdivision with Fellow Street highlighted where 50 feet was already dedicated, and that was way back when. Now let's talk about Burdick Lane. What is proposed for Burdick Lane is quite another story. Currently, Burdick Lane is a pre-existing, non-conforming street, as it does not have the required 50 feet as required by technical standards 2.4. The developer has not deeded land additionally to make it conform to 50 feet. You have long learned and heard the cardinal principle of nonconformity, that when something is non-conforming, it must be brought into compliance. This means that Mr. Virzillo must dedicate the additional 17 feet to be compliant with standard regulations. And to my knowledge, and according to the plan, he has not done so. And there is precedence for this. I am putting into the record the deeds and maps of 2 other streets in this neighborhood that complied with the 50-foot standard long before technical standards of 50 feet were adopted in March 11, 2011. So now I'm going to hand you a map, and this is going to be a lot of handouts and a lot of maps for you to look at. First of all, I'm going to give you the map for, well, maybe I'll just do it for Oakwood Avenue. There's Oakwood Avenue. The map for Johnson Street, and no, I'm not ready for this one yet. You have to just do that one. And I was gonna hand out, I was gonna hand out the map indeed for Fellow Street, and you've got the map of Fellow Street, but I forgot to look up the deed. All right. Those are two handouts there for that. We're almost done, Mr. Chairman. I know it's a long night. All of the Johnson Street and Oakwood Avenue all have 50-foot right-of-ways. Long before the rules got put in the town. So I think Mr. Brazillo should be held to the same standard. Now let's talk about Moss Street. I will also enter the record a map dated April 1939 depicting the extension of Moss Street to Burdick Lane. It clearly shows a 60-foot right-of-way, which I believe is not represented in the plan documents presented with this application. It also shows the stormwater, a storm drain under Moss Street leading to the drain under the railroad track, and I believe that is 36 inches. Very hard to read. But this, and I think those two facts that I just mentioned may have implications regarding the sidewalk, which I will have a picture of the sidewalk for you coming up, and the drainage that's being planned for this property. In your packet from the planner's office, there was a 10-page letter from Mr. Chimenzia dated October 15th, 2025, with his responses to the planner's and town engineer's comments on this application, which was dated June 30th, 2025. I analyzed that document. I hope you did too, because there were 67 items that had to be addressed. Only 7 of them had been completed. So there are 52 whopping responses that still need to be addressed. So, and how you find that out is by counting all the shall be shown, shall be added, should be, will accommodate, will be updated, we shall be incorporated, we will, we shall. All of this indicates to me, because they are not on the plans, that this is an incomplete application. Well, so there are some other things that are wrong with this thing. Technical standards 3.1.8 concerning the drainage, which is mentioned. Also the grading and utility plans haven't been prepared. And about the snow shelves, which are supposed to be located next to the sidewalks. I hope that, I can't tell from the cross-section. I probably would have preferred, I'm almost done, Clifton. I would have preferred to see a road profile like we see in many, many other applications. And as far as the open space goes, and this is not printed in my document because I forgot to add it, but if you check that 8.34 times 15%, the amount of open space there does not equal 15%. So to me, that means there should be a lot line adjustment to the real arts of those homes that are on that side of Fellow Street. So I think it is imperative that these items be addressed before any kind of an approval is granted. I'm glad to see that the applicant is taking time to come back and to revisit all these items. And thank you for listening to me. The last thing you're going to get is my notes, my talk, and the Moss Street extension with the items that I've talked about. Thank you for your time. This is
Thank you, as always, Carlene.
all right, this is Moss Street. Definitely shows.
Are you concluded, Carlene?
Almost. Oh, you're going to get another picture. Here is Oakwood Avenue, where I live, with a 50-foot right-of-way, and 27.5 feet are paved. And you can see when there are are two things on the street that there's really not a lot of room to get on. And that's why it's imperative that we get the 50-foot right-of-way on Alberta Lane. And this is the famous Moss Street sidewalk, which we hope is going to look like that going up Alberta Lane. Thank you.
Are you concluded?
And these are my comments.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak on this item? I don't have anyone else signed up.
I have a quick question.
Please come forward.
Thank you.
If you would, just state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rachel Pond, Oakwood Ave. Thank you guys for being here. I heard that they were working on the stormwater issue, but I didn't hear the word gabion again, so I didn't know if that was still under consideration. I don't have an idea of how big it would be, if that would be something that would block view when you're driving down Moss to go around the corner to Burdick. So I'm just looking forward to hearing some clarification on that when they get to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak either for or against or make a general comment on this application? Does the applicant wish rebuttal time?
Thank you. Not at this time. We'll hold off until the next meeting. We appreciate your time.
Commission have any other questions of the applicant or the applicant's engineer? Any questions of Clifton? Clifton, any further comments?
No, I think, I know that the applicant's been working with the town engineer on addressing the 50-something outstanding comments, so I know that that's a work in progress. I have no other comments at this time. Staff will work on revising the report and reviewing the application once the new materials.
So we need a motion to continue this public hearing, correct?
Correct, and that you would continue to the date of November 18th. Correct? November 18th.
The meeting, I'm very sad to say you will not be at.
I will not be at, no. Hopefully I will have the
Hopefully you'll be
semblance of
enjoying
a report.
yourself.
Yep, yep. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to continue the public hearing for PZ 2522 SDF Verzillo until the November 18th P&Z meeting.
Motion to continue and a second. Thank you both. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Chair abstains. The meeting is continued. You're still handing off the plan, sir. Okay. So that brings us to the third public hearing item, Stone Ridge Senior Care. We'll just give a minute for the room to clear here. The same rules of engagement apply here, where the applicant will make their presentation and after which the commission will ask questions. The town planner will submit his comments. The commission will go back and forth with the town planner. The public will have an opportunity to speak. The applicant will have an opportunity to rebut. Go back and forth until everyone has said their piece. Anyone that wishes to speak at this public hearing should please sign up. Evening, Counselor. If we need a motion to open the public hearing, is this, this is a new application, correct?
No, reopen.
Reopen, okay. So we're reopening this, we do not have to read the act.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to reopen the public hearing for PZ 253 SUP Stone Ridge Senior Care LLC, JKC.
Motion to reopen, continued from our September 16th meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to reopen. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. The ayes have it. The public hearing is reopened. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is John Casey. I'm a partner with the law firm of Robinson & Cole, representing the applicant. We are here to continue the public hearing, and we are determined to actually just continue, to not repeat anything that we provided the last time, but we'll obviously answer any questions you may have that may come up. just to say and set the table, this is for a planned final stage at Stone Ridge, and we're here asking for a modification of the previously approved special use permit. With me tonight are Ted Bowles from the owner and operator, Pam Popworth, who's over there, the executive director at Stone Ridge. I have our civil engineer, Seamus Moran, our landscape architects, Mike Segan and Josh Ignatz, and our architect, Omar Barrientos. Just today, we received some new public comments, favorable from the town engineer, that they have no objection to the updated stormwater plan, and no other comments. The fire marshal wrote that we addressed all his concerns, and the WPCA said, to our surprise, this is new information to us, that they were doing a partial lifting of the sewer moratorium, and that the capacity for this project was going to be allowed. So we can move forward. There'll be nothing holding us up to move forward with construction once we have our approval, our hope for approval. So with that, I will turn it over to Mike and Josh to present the few changes in the application that were made in response to comments from the commission and comments from the residents who spoke last time.
Thanks, sir.
Good evening. I'm Mike Segan with Richter and Segan. We are the landscape architects on the project team. I'm going to give just a brief overview of the changes that we've made since the last meeting. All of these changes are a response to either town staff comments, commission comments, or comments from residents at Stone Ridge. Go to this is the revised plan. As you look at the plan, you'll see it doesn't look very different from the plan that was submitted. The four main components have not changed. The main building addition, the relocated pickleball court related landscaping, the improvements in the commons area, including the small addition there, and the design of the storm water management system. Next, Josh. This plan, still looking at the overall campus, shows the 3 or 4 different revisions that I wanted to talk about tonight. Just from an overview, the first relates to comments from the fire marshal and turning radiuses. We've added carports, replacing the carports, the 20 carports that were impacted by the revised or the new building addition. We've added some surface parking, and we've added the safety fencing at the storm detention basin. And I'll look at it at a little more larger scale at these 4 different items. Next. This plan, enlargement plan around the building addition shows 2 of those items. First, we have modified the drop-off circle at the assisted living entrance in response to the fire marshal comments to reduce the inside circle radius to allow better fire truck turning and access in that circle, as well as there's a mountable curb that's been added. Also on this enlargement is some addition of surface parking in that sort of triangle that Josh is pointing out. We've added 14 surface spacings here, a net of 14 spaces. We've met the requirements of landscaping. In addition, we've maintained the 25-foot minimum required buffer in this area, preserving mature screening and trees along that buffer line, and then supplementing it with about 30 evergreens along the entire inside of that. Next. This enlargement plan is just south of the addition in the 6,000 building and shows the new 20 carports that have been added, replace the ones that have been displaced by the new addition. There's a grouping of 8 in the upper right corner there, and then there's a grouping of 12 in that location. The carports are all over existing pavement, existing spaces, so they don't really add impervious surface to the project. In addition to the carports, there's 13 spaces surface spaces that have been added here behind the carports. Again, the required landscaping has been provided in this area. We've maintained a minimum 25-foot buffer and are supplementing that buffer with a 6-foot-high solid board fence that's around the surface parking area. Next, John. Just one other comment, maybe go back again. The storm drainage system that's been designed, the detention basin, will accommodate the additional impervious surface that we've added for these surface parking spaces. There's not a huge amount of impervious surface added, and the revised storm drainage report confirms that. And Shane is this here if there's any questions on that one issue. Next. This just shows the back of existing carports that are on the site. We are matching with the new 20 carports the architectural design of the existing carports that are both shown here, that they replace, and that are throughout the campus. The same architectural style. Next. And then the fourth and last change or improvement is the safety fencing at the storm drainage area. As you approach the basin, we've added both a service gate, double service gate there, as well as a pedestrian gate, and then extended the fence into the woods line. If you go to the next. This is a photograph looking with your back to Stone Ridge towards the basin, and the fencing would be across that narrow trail area. Again, the double gates, and then extended into the woods edge to provide that safety and demarcation for anybody coming from the Stone Ridge area. Next. That's again, I said I'd do a really quick overview. That's an overview of the changes. In addition to this, we have also provided written response to the comments from staff. And as Attorney Casey had mentioned, I think all staff has responded back that we have addressed their comments. I don't think there's any that haven't been addressed by the team. And if there are no questions on the changes here, I turn it back to Attorney Casey.
Again, for the record, John Casey. Just quickly, I don't think I touched on this. It was sort of my summation. So we have requested waivers from the archaeological study, the scale 3D dimensional model, the school impact evaluation report. We feel that these are not needed for this type of development. Obviously, with a senior living facility, there can be no impact on the schools. We provided, I think, sufficient architectural drawings to waive the scale 3D dimensional model. And we actually have a life-size model of how it's going to look if you just drive by. So that's there. And then this has already been a developed site, so an archaeological study is not needed. But those are formal votes you have to take. I want to make sure I mention those. There are requirements in your regulations for congregate living facilities. We've met the bulk requirements. We've provided outdoor recreational space. We're actually adding to the existing recreational space that's there for the residents to enjoy. The number of dwelling units complies. Parking complies. Actually, now we have we were already over the required number. And what's the total number now, Mike? Do you have that number? I'll give Mike a second to get that. Regarding utilities, we have sidewalks, pedestrian safety will be maintained. And then just in general, since this is a special use permit, your standards are in section 15.2.7. Very quickly, because this is an existing facility and it's already got a special permit, I think it goes without saying it's served by sufficient water supply, sanitary facilities, it's protected by fire safety and security equipment, the transportation services are adequate. You heard from a traffic engineer, no new traffic problems will be caused by the addition. In general, I mean, not in general, in specifics, this won't create any dangerous or objectionable elements to the residents. And then the general special use criteria, there'll be no adverse effect to other uses in the district, no effect on property values, historic features, prosperity, nor to the public health, safety, and welfare of the town. So we feel we meet the standards under the special permit criteria, as well as consistency with the plan of conservation and development. Briefly, as an example, section 9.1 states that as our age composition changes in the future, it's anticipated that Stonington will need greater diversity of housing stock, and that with more smaller size households and more people living longer, it's anticipated there'll be a demand for smaller housing units with maintenance and other services available. And those are exactly the type of services that the residents receive at Stone Ridge very successfully. And we just want to increase the opportunities for residents of the town to be able to enjoy the lifestyle, I guess I should say the life that people are able to have at Stone Ridge. And even better with the new amenities in the common areas. So with that, I think I'll just close by just asking sort of the obvious. We ask that you approve the application, grant our waivers, and allow us to move forward with this final phase of the project. Thank you.
Any questions of the applicant or his team? Any comments?
No comments, all outstanding comments have been addressed.
And there is a final memorandum. I just looked a second time. I don't think, is the town engineer's memorandum in the packet?
It should have been in my original one.
Okay, but the town engineer
If not,
has approved the additional?
Correct.
Okay, fine. And the fence has been added around the detention base?
It's been, they've done it at the entrance to the site,
Got
so
it.
it's not around the basin itself.
Okay.
It's over the walkway.
That's adequate. Okay. Any questions of Clifton from the panel? Is the board satisfied that we can open it for public discussion? Okay. We have 5 people signed up to speak. The first is Frank Taylor from Jerry Brown Road. Frank?
He passes.
Passes. Okay. Ted Bowles?
Good evening. My name is Ted Bowles, 970 Southeast Waco Place, Waukee, Iowa. As it was stated, I am the project manager on this project. I've been working at LCS for close to 10 years as a project manager on all sorts of different projects across the country. Since its inception, LCS has been in the managing and owner of Stone Ridge. We own, as LCS, multiple communities across the country, 130 plus. Our goal and only goal has always been to serve seniors first, and this final phase of Stone Ridge is exactly that. We strive to create engaging, vibrant, and fulfilling environments at every one of our communities. This final phase not only meets those goals for the current residents, but also for our future residents and the greater good of the town of Stonington. This project will complete our commitment to bring modern and inviting independent living and assisted living apartments to the community but also enhance many of the different amenities that you've been hearing about. These include things such as a new game room, a library, a wood shop, theater, dedicated group fitness, cardio rooms, training rooms, and even multi-purpose rooms. And as you can see here tonight, and as you've heard tonight and in the last meetings we've assembled a very passionate group of stakeholders that include our residents, our staff, our designers, our architects, and our consultants, all to bring this vision to fruition. I want to thank this council and the town for their time and their full commitment and collaboration on this project. And I do ask you to vote yes tonight so we can see this final phase come to fruition at Stone Ridge. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott Taylor?
Can I pass until the end?
Yes. This next one is a little bit of a challenge. Dan, let's just say Dan. Dan, if you would state your name and your address, both of which, I think it's Jerry Brown Road, 180 Jerry Brown Road, but if you just confirm that for me. Thank you, sir. Would you like to sit down, sir? Would you like to sit down?
I'm okay standing.
Okay.
I need a... I have a Macintosh.
Do you have one? HDMI.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, it's having difficulty getting up on the screen. We have it
Would
connected.
another computer help if we copied it onto a thumb drive and just tried another computer?
Can you just describe it?
You folks already have it, right?
Did you email it to me?
Yeah.
Then I think Adrian should send it.
Can you proceed to his comments without the video?
Can you proceed
Yeah.
with that?
Okay. So the main point, all these advantages that have been touted for the addition, we agree with. What we don't agree with is the excessive size of the building. It extends 2 floors above any of the other adjacent buildings. and one floor above the highest point of any of the other buildings on campus. Also, the extension of the building beyond the initial plan from 2007, where it crosses the access road to the entry to buildings 5 and 6, eliminates, besides the pickleball court, it also eliminates 35 or so parking spaces, including the 2 garages that have been relocated in the latest plans. Those 2 garages are sited on existing surface parking, so they don't really provide more parking. So there's 35 missing spaces from the new plan. And besides that, since there's more people in this building, more employees, we figured there'd be a total of about 60 new spaces required. I think they outlined about 30 in their plan. So it really helps if you look at the diagrams, but this building parallels buildings 5 and 6 and moves way above it. So it blocks the morning view of the sun and drastically changes the appearance of that part of the campus. The site drawings or renderings that have been presented all emphasize building 7, the new building, don't show a relationship to the old buildings. So it looks it looks pretty acid anyway, but because it towers above the other ones, it really changes the appearance of that part of the campus. And the requirement of parking, besides the parking spaces, entry to building 5 and 6, it is in the narrow restricted region on the road, which also the renderings exaggerate or don't show the true narrowness of that road. Deliveries are often made to the entry to 5 and 6. And trucks currently can go down one leg of the road and then turn and go back out the other entry. With the new plan, there's only one entry. And it would be very difficult for trucks to turn around in there. I think it's basically impossible with the plan presented. So we're asking 3 things. One is that they reduce the maximum height of the building. Second one, solve the parking problems they haven't, since we've done that. So there's 16 new spaces required. Moving those 2 parking garages to surface parking doesn't help, because it just reduces the amount of surface parking that's already available. And finally, there needs to be finding for entry and exit from the outside to building entry of building 5 and 6. So I presented in the past 2 possible plans for reducing the scale and the size of the building that would preserve the 35 parking spaces. One of which would be to shorten the building so to the original extent. So you're going to make the second road, and the other one preserves that, but reduces the infinite living spaces that are above assisted living spaces. So the parking is on the ground floor or sub-ground floor, and then you're able to replace the 35. You only have to find about 25 new spaces, which they've done. But, yeah, those are the basic problems. If you look at the figures, plug, you can see it very nicely illustrated.
Does that conclude your comments, sir?
Yes.
Thank you. Next one on the list is...
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
He made a comment to me that he originally had emailed this to my office. I didn't receive it by Friday when he says he's emailed it. So I'll have to go check my record so I can properly add it into his photos and documents into the record.
So we'll leave the record open for that one item.
I haven't acknowledged it.
Then it might be in my file. I don't have it personally.
Is the applicant okay with that?
I just need to add it to the final report or to the file just to make sure it's in there. It doesn't impact anything.
Okay, so it doesn't create any rebuttal issues?
No, it doesn't.
You okay with that?
With that representation, yeah, we don't have a problem with that. Yeah, and Clifton's office has been very good about forwarding things like when they come in, so I'm sure it just got lost in the shuffles.
Sure, we appreciate that. That was last evening here. Barry Goodman. Yeah, I gotta bring it back, start there.
Testing. My name is Mary Goodman. Hi, everybody. I haven't been here since I was in my 30s. I've never been to a public meeting since then, but I feel really strongly about one item in this proposal. First of all, I'd like to say I love Stone Ridge. I think you guys have done a fabulous job. I grew up with the Perkinses. I think you treated them fairly. They lived there till they died, and you've done a beautiful job with the landscaping. I like it, and I'll probably live there myself someday. But I'm asking that you consider my one concern, and that before you approve or disapprove, you actually address the concern. I think it would be easy to address, so I hope that you will not finalize tonight, or at least you'll have the solution tonight and then finalize. Because I believe the statement that no extra impact on safety of the town is not exactly correct. And I understand why they don't realize what I'm going to say, because you really have to live on Bucquotucks Road a long time to truly understand the nature of it. So when we talk about safety, we talk about people. I'd like to talk about wildlife, and I'm going to throw in dogs, because a lot of people walk dogs on that street. So let's talk about children first. As you know, or maybe you don't know, Bucquotucks Road is a beautiful road. It has woods, it has meadows, it has gorgeous trees, wild grapes, it has all kinds of animals living around it. But it's not a safe road. It has a lot of curves, and it has a lot of hills that don't have good sight lines. And so it's kind of dangerous, but it's scenic. I love it. I wouldn't want to change it. So let's talk about children first. So the Nature Center that is located on Bucquotucks Road has a preschool where they have a lot of children in programs all year long during the school year. And then in the summer, the Nature Center has all kinds of summer programs for the children. And during the summer, they've actually had to put a crosswalk in on Bucquotucks Road where these summer program children cross the street. First, they tried just putting a little cone that said, please drive carefully, children crossing. That didn't work. People just drove over the cone and knocked it over. So then they put in this crosswalk, and that didn't really help either. And now what they have to do, when they want to bring children across, they need a crossing guard. And they have a crossing guard that stands there and stops the traffic because people just come flying down Pequot's Road. So I would say that children's safety is an issue if we increase the traffic on Pequot's Road. Next, I'd like to talk about seniors, and why didn't I bring my glasses up? Oh, I did. I told you I'll be living there soon myself. I'd like to talk about seniors, adults, and families. So, as you know, the Dennison Homestead is on Pequot. For a little road, it has a whole lot on it. So the Dennison Homestead, a lot of seniors go there. There's not really good parking on the street, so people have to cross the street on a really bad curve and a really bad hill to get to the homestead. Seniors, families with children, and just general adults. So once again, I would not say that adding more traffic to Pequot's Road is going to be no impact on the safety for seniors, adults, and families. Next, I want to talk about wildlife and dogs. So it's a beautiful, beautiful road. I would love to walk on it myself. I live on the road. I live at 186 Pequot's Road, and I own 7 acres on Pequot's Road. I'm a Mystic resident. I was born and raised there, so I know Pequot's Road really well. So many people walk up there every morning. I see people running by, walking their dogs, and there's a farmer's market. People want to walk to the farmer's market, but they really can't. But again, the road has no sidewalks. There's ticks on the grass, so if you want to get off the road, you have to get onto the grass where there's ticks. Maybe that doesn't sound like a safety issue to you, but to me, I've had lines several times, and I don't want to get it again. So I don't walk the road anymore, and it makes me really sad. The nature center trails on the road, you have to cross across the road to get from one trail to where it continues on the other side in several places. So again, that's an issue. So every time we put more parking spaces at Stone Ridge, we increase the possibility of more cars coming down. Pequot's, everybody complains about that for every development that goes in Stonington. I understand that. But I have a couple of suggestions that might help lessen the impact of traffic on Pequot's Road. Number one, there is a driveway, and I just noticed it's labeled entrance. On Pequot's Road, there's a driveway that goes into Stone Ridge, and on their map, it's labeled entrance. I personally thought it was exit only to the left, no right turn. So maybe they've changed that, but whichever way it's labeled, people totally ignore the signs coming out of Stone Ridge, and they all mostly turn right on Pequot's. It's a nice shortcut to get to Mystic, and I understand, I'd probably do it myself if I lived there. So I would like to see that driveway coming out on Pequot's Road to be either removed so that it won't be as easy to get on Pequot's Road. But that's probably a fire violation, I understand that. So perhaps put spikes on the entrance so that it can only be an entrance and not an exit. That way people would not be able to come out. I mean, that is a commonly used thing in a lot of places. Okay, if you don't want to put spikes, put a chain across it so that only fire engines can come in, drop the chain, and go in. It seems trivial, but honestly, if you lived on Pequot's Road, please take me seriously. This is a safety issue. So those were my 2 easy suggestions. My favorite suggestion is to be the champion of sidewalks on Pequot's Road. This is your chance to be the first to put your part of the sidewalk on Pequot's Road. And maybe perhaps as new additions and buildings come along, and maybe if I build on mine, I put a sidewalk in front of my road and in front of my house too. Start the revolution is what I say. If you guys would start the revolution and put a sidewalk on there. So I thought I had, oh yes, I do have, by the way, I'll gladly hand in my notes.
Mary, I'm going to have to, after we wrap it up, we have the room till 10 o'clock, but we all have to be out of here.
Okay, no solution will not, a solution will fix it perfectly, but doing nothing will make it worse. And this is the only chance we have to make a change. I'm giving you my notes. Just in case you want my parts. Thank you.
Scott, do you want to speak now? There's no one else signed up.
I signed up to speak, really with the intention of not speaking. But as things went along, I thought I'd take a shot at being someone who tried to clarify a few things that I think I've been hearing all along. First of all, I am not in opposition to this project. Can I repeat that? I am not in opposition to it. I happen to think, like many residents do, that the magnitude of the project is not good. And I don't think it's necessary. I think we could accomplish all these wonderful things without the magnitude. My wife and I love Stone Ridge. We are the least impacted. We are literally the furthest from this project. We'll be the least impacted during construction and after. However, I feel compelled to try to clarify some things that I think planning and zoning may not understand, or maybe been, not intentionally, but led to believe that people or residents, Stonington residents, are jumping up and down with excitement over this thing. They are not with the magnitude, but they are excited about a reasonable expansion. It's my understanding that several people have recently submitted letters to you folks. Now, I'm assuming that all of you read those letters, and I'm also assuming that some of you, if not all of you, at some point throughout this process have been over the Stone Ridge to see the relatively small area we are working with. You're not getting my notes because I just made them as people were talking. Ted, you made a comment, or somebody did, about additional recreational space. I don't know what that's all about, but I'm very active in our recreation committee, and I would love to know what additional recreational stuff we're going to get. And that is really about it. But I am not in opposition. I think it could be more reasonable. And if we go ahead, as it looks like we are going to be going, I will embrace it and support it. But I think there are a few things that needed to be clarified. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Anyone else wish to make any statements on this project? Yes, sir.
Well, apparently my letter was received, it just wasn't distributed. Okay, you should look at it. For you to and some good figures. And it makes a point saying that Scott was making, of course, there's a non-opposed to the project as a whole. We're all in favor of all the good parts. We just want to scale down, and it's not necessary to be that large in order to pay for itself.
Anyone else wish to speak that hasn't spoken? Come ahead. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Trebilcock, and my family owns properties on Mistuxet Avenue and Pequot's. And my concern is the same as Mary Goodman's. I'm concerned about the traffic. I'm also a numbers person. On the last meeting, I heard that there were 90 additional parking spots. And then tonight, if I'm hearing correctly, there's an additional 14 outdoor spots plus 2 carports. And I would like to see another traffic study done on that. You're increasing the parking as proposed from last time by almost 20%. And I would like to see what that's going to do to Pequot's Road. It is not a safe road. If you're from this area, if you know the history, the Dennison Homestead did not intend that to be a road. That was their driveway over 200 years ago. And that's why it's all twisty and turny and not drivable, really. It's a driveway that became a road that now is used for traffic, and it's just unsafe. So if we can't fix the road, I would like to scale down the parking, do another traffic study, and if possible, scale down the building. It is very large. Remember when Foxwood said they would never build taller than the trees? Remember that lie?
Yeah.
And now they say, well, it's okay because it's architecturally beautiful. It is not. You don't want to live next to Foxwoods. I don't want to live next to a monstrosity. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to make a statement? Is the applicant wish rebuttal time?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Try to do this in some reasonable order. And I'll call on members of our team to add in. The concern regarding the bulk of the building, we can understand some people's concerns there, but the bottom line is that the size of the building conforms to the zoning regulations, the number of units conforms to the zoning regulations, and that any individual person's subjective beliefs about what would be better for the site or not are really, I won't say irrelevant, but this commission should follow its regulations. And if something complies with the regulations, it should be approved. So the subjective wants and desires of people shouldn't control land use in the town. It should be the regulations. And that relates to not only the number of units, but the height of the building. They all comply. And we came to this commission with a plan to amend the regulations, and we're very open about why we were planning to amend asking to amend the regulations. And this is the project that is permitted under those regulations. And it should be approved if it meets the regulations, which it does. In regard to parking, you're getting two different comments. And I understand the comments regarding Pequot-Seapost Road. I live in Mystic. I've driven on that road. It's a busy road. My kids have gone to activities at the nature center. But as this commission knows, one property owner is not responsible for an entire road. Just as the members of the public who commented, who live on that road, aren't responsible for everyone who drives up and down it, neither is Stone Ridge. You have a traffic study that explains that there'll be no impacts on the level of services and very minimal additional traffic trip generation by this development. The number of parking spaces does not drive the amount of traffic. It's the use. And so the use here is additional units. We have the study. There's really no impact. Regarding the lane in and out on Pequot-Seapost, that is signed the way it was, the way it's always been. Just as we can't stop someone from going through the stop sign at Jerry Brown Road. If someone wants to blow through a stop sign, we can't stop them from doing that. We can't stop people from making an illegal turn. So it's just part of it. And just like these members of the public can't stop people from driving too fast on that road. It's a problem. It's not on the back of any one particular property owner, and it's not uncommon that public wants to put it on the back of the person who happens to be applying at the time. But if that project isn't going to cause significant additional traffic, like this project will not, then this commission's standards, and you have substantial evidence in front of you that it will not cause traffic impacts in the area. I sort of had asked Mike partway through this for the numbers of parking, so the final numbers. I know there was a question or a comment that seemed to suggest we were removing too much parking, and a comment about we were adding too much parking. But overall, I think the net number of new parking spots is, do you have it there?
We are adding from 420 to 539. And there was a comment, I think, about even the additional parking we were adding in this revision. It's not the parking spaces that create the traffic, it's the number of residences and employees and staff, and that hasn't
Traffic
changed.
studies driven by the number of units, not the number of cars.
I would just note that there was a very...
Sir, you're out of order. I'm sorry.
In regard to the site layout and the architecture, I know there was one comment, it's already in the record, but maybe we could I could ask Omar about the sunlight on the buildings. There's been a study, maybe just want to explain that, please. Just state your name for the record.
Omar Barrientos, SDNA Architects. We are the architect for the project. Yeah, we did sun studies and provided that to the city, and there was no real significant impact to the existing residents, unlike what they are experience as we documented.
And there's really no standard for that in your regulations, but as Ted, when he spoke, and you heard from Pamela last time, they take the concerns of the residents very seriously, and so there's a push and pull. They want to build this out. They want to, as Ted said, serve not just the current residents but the future residents. So we understand, there'll be some disruption during construction and some change, but bottom line, from a zoning perspective, from the regulations, from your requirements, special permit standards, we feel, not just feel, but truly believe that this project meets all the requirements and should be granted a permit. And we're happy to answer any questions based on the comments that you had.
Commissioners, have any other questions of the applicant or the representative? Anyone else who hasn't spoken who wishes to speak? If you just give your name and address for the record, please.
Alyssa Olson, and I'm on 97 Mistuxet Avenue. Sorry, can you hear me? I just had a couple of questions. One with regard to Pequot Seacoast and the traffic.
You can't ask questions of the applicant. You have to speak to the commission, and we may redirect.
Okay, understood. With regard to the traffic on Pequot Seacoast, another factor is that they are pushing the wildlife into the road, and I saw 2 accidents last year with deer, pretty bad accidents, so that also should be taken into consideration, not just for the wildlife, but for the cars that are in those accidents. They were pretty serious accidents, so they're running out of room. And I have not seen half of the wildlife that I used to see since 2004, so I hope that's been taken into consideration with this expansion, and I hope that they're also going to do something to help replenish the wildlife that is being impacted by this building. And number 2 is our property never used to flood, and I'm not saying that our house floods right now, but our field will be, half of it will be underwater at times, and that used to never happen when I was younger. It's changed since the topography of the land has changed over the last 20 years. It has been built up, Stone Ridge and the apartment buildings, they have built all of that land up, and we are now in a ditch. So I don't really understand the basin that was being proposed. I don't understand all of that, but I really hope you have seriously considered the impact that all of those structures have had on the houses on Pequot Seacoast and Mistuxet, because it is definitely impacting our land. And that's all, that's,
Thank you.
thank you.
The applicant wish any rebuttal?
Good evening, Commission. My name is Seamus Moran, professional engineer in Connecticut for H&H Engineering Associates. Just to touch on the stormwater, I guess on the surface, it's changed over the last 15 years anyway. They changed the way you analyze it, they changed the way you monitor it. All the stormwater management improvements we have now and we're accounting for meet the current standards, meet the current design parameters, and that's been reviewed and approved by the town engineer, both for water quality and quantity and peak rates. So that's why the basin's a little bit bigger. We're managing the stormwater on the site. It was already previously managed, and we're managing the increase accordingly. It's actually more volume in the basin than discharging with the current design plan. So it should show a reduction, and it does show a reduction of peak rates from what's currently existing. So the analysis and the numbers show that we're managing the stormwater to either, it is to reduce the peak rates of runoff at the discharge point. I didn't catch her address, but all the stormwater on our property goes from kind of northeast to southwest, and everything gets to the basin, and that's just how it's managed, and that's been, again, reviewed and approved by the town engineer.
Thank you, Seamus. And again, I know land use projects and the engineering, not everyone's an expert on it, and so we just wanted to get in record. Again, this commission probably knows that we handle all the stormwater on site, and maybe from some members of the public don't understand that that's a requirement, that we can't just let stormwater shed off the property and roll downhill into someone else's property. That's managed as part of any responsible land use project. So we just wanted to make sure that was on the record.
Thank you. Anyone else who hasn't spoken who wishes to speak? Commissioner, have any other questions of the applicant or their representatives? Hearing none, if you're finished, Counselor.
We are finished.
Then I think the motion to close the public hearing is in order.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to close the public hearing for PZ 535 SUP Stoners Senior Care, LLC JKC.
Motion to close the public hearing on this application. Is there a second?
Second.
And seconded. Thank you both. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
What's the timing on this, Clifton? Do we have additional time on this, or?
Yes, you have time to make a decision. The public hearing had to be closed by tonight, but you have 2 months, 65 days.
Does the commission want to make a decision on this evening, or do you wish to?
I can
I think we can make a decision.
Okay. Okay. And what is the commission's pleasure on this application?
Just to confirm, Clifton, we can make it one vote for the waivers and the special use permit, correct?
That's correct.
So, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve both the special use permit and the waivers requested for this application with the following 4 stipulations. Number 1, final plan shall be reviewed to the satisfaction of the town engineer, fire marshal, and town planner. Number 2, final plan shall be recorded in the town's land evidence records. Number 3, prior to the issuance of a zoning permit, the final plan shall be signed by the commission and recorded. And number 4, the applicant shall post an erosion and sedimentation control bond prior to the issuance of a zoning permit. The bond shall be either in the form of a certified check or a revocable letter of credit meeting the requirements of ZR 8.6.3. The bond amount shall be established by the town engineer after an estimate of the cost of installing and maintaining appropriate erosion and sedimentation control measures is provided by the applicant and approved by the town engineer. Work shall remain bonded for a minimum of 1 year from the date of zoning compliance.
Motion has been made with conditions for both the waivers and the approval. Does the applicant understand the motion and all the conditions?
Yes, we do, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. The chair abstains. Has everyone looked at, do we need to make a motion on the extension of beach, the,
Fair housing.
No,
okay, so it just automatically rolls over?
correct.
Okay, so that concludes all of the items on the agenda?
Correct. The only comment I would make under new business, item 10F, PC 2550 SP plus GPP. This application, at the suggestion of the zoning enforcement officer, requested that you make that subdivision application a public hearing. So I would just need your vote in conformance to make that a public hearing.
Do you need a formal motion for that?
I would like one, yes.
Okay, so we need a motion with regard to that application to schedule it for public hearing?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to schedule a public hearing for PZ 2550SD and GPP Massey Graham as Triventia.
Motion made to schedule a public hearing for that subdivision item. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you both. For the second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is authorized.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn this.
Motion made to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned.
Do you all read the letters we sent? We need a traffic